NASCAR just shocked the teams as it announced it will reassess its playoff format this offseason, with modifications likely as early as next year, though a more significant revamp may have to wait until 2026 if pursued, according to sources. Joey Logano of Team Penske won his third Cup Series title this past weekend, bringing the Stock Car Auto Racing Series 2024 season to a finish. After decades of crowning a champion through the conventional season-long points format, NASCAR has now used a playoff system for the past 20 years. Over the course of 2 decades, the format has evolved, and in 2014, NASCAR adopted an elimination style. The 4-round structure remains in force today, taking place over the last 10 races of the season. The final round is a winner-take-all championship race, the season's last event, in which the whole field competes, but only 4 drivers are in contention for the title. While the format has always had its detractors among NASCAR's diehard fans, discontent appears to have reached a fever pitch this year when Logano set the record for the lowest average finishing position for a champion in NASCAR history at 17.1, according to media sources. This sparked a flood of debate on the subject on social media. As a refresher, NASCAR presently operates a 10-race playoff with 16 drivers. The field is filled initially by full-time drivers with race victories and the regular season champion, followed by extra at-large bids to the top remaining drivers in the standings, if applicable. Points are granted to the whole field after each race, as well as to the top 10 at stage breaks, twice in the middle of each race, or 3 times in one race. Most points are reset at the start of the playoffs and after each round, but playoff points, earned by victors of both those stages and the races themselves, accumulate throughout the year and are added back to a driver's total before each of the first 3 rounds. The regular season championship results provide additional playoff points. All of this is simply to configure the field. When the elimination rounds begin, things quickly spiral out of control. Each of the first 3 rounds of 3 races advances every eligible race winner while eliminating the 4 remaining lowest scoring drivers, leaving just 4 at the end to compete in a final race with no points on the line. The top 4 slots in the championship are determined by the results of that race. Therefore, a driver who wins the previous 35 races but finishes 4th among competitors in that event will only be recognized with 4th place in the championship. By requiring competitors to jump through so many hoops, those contrived and complex regulations are intended to cause issues for teams and pandemonium for viewers to enjoy. The approach, however, has a major flaw. One side appears to have determined that the optimal tactic is to focus solely on the last hoop. As Team Penske has demonstrated for the past 3 years, only success in the unique Phoenix Raceway finale matters. Getting into the Championship 4 race is not an impossible accomplishment, even for a squad that has been mediocre all year. A driver only needs to make it to the 3rd round by staying out of trouble and winning a race in that round. When a driver advances based on a combination of strong performance and chance, like Joey Logano did with a successful strategy in Las Vegas last month, all that counts is what happens in Phoenix. Because the format at Phoenix rewards performance, a lightly banked 1-mile track with a 5th identifiable corner and a paved pit exit apron that can be used on every lap, championship-caliber teams like Penske are actually rewarded for designing cars that are compromised on other, more notable tracks. Not only can a bad team win titles, but a championship team might appear even more inferior when their cars struggle on the series' less crucial courses. This can be fixed by altering the finale race on a regular basis, but it is just one of many weaknesses in a system that has not generated a lot of interest in NASCAR since its inception in 2014. At the annual State of the Sport news conference on Friday, 2 days before Logano won, NASCAR sensed enough talk about the subject to address it directly. COO Steve O'Donnell and President Steve Phelps defended this year's Final Four drivers and the notion of playoffs in general, although O'Donnell admitted for the first time that NASCAR would consider revisiting the structure. Elton Sawyer, NASCAR VP Competition, reaffirmed this in an interview with SiriusXM NASCAR Radio on Tuesday, without going into detail. Now, 2 persons familiar with the situation have confirmed that NASCAR intends to evaluate the format this summer, with one stating that any modifications for 2025 will most likely be minor alterations considering that the season is only months away. Any change would affect not just the teams, but also the broadcasters, tracks, and sponsors. According to the source, if a more comprehensive revamp is necessary, it will most likely have to wait until 2026. The second insider warned against expecting a larger change, but acknowledged that the playoff system will be examined in the coming weeks. some senior team executives contacted on Tuesday suggested they would be willing to organize an industry-wide body to investigate the issue. One of the people suggested that topics to be discussed include whether a win should automatically qualify a driver for the playoffs, as it does now, and whether the regular season champion should be locked into one of the later rounds of the playoffs, whether the final round should have more than 4 drivers, and whether the final round should be contested over multiple races rather than just one. The guy mentioned that the present system is exciting, but it may have swung NASCAR's pendulum too far toward entertainment and away from sports. Despite criticism of the structure, NASCAR ended the 2024 playoffs with a 6% increase in viewership over the previous year, with an average of 2.33 million viewers per race. For Sunday's finale at Phoenix Raceway, NBC received a 1.60 rating and 2.895 million viewers, excluding digital streaming from Peacock, which was fairly consistent with previous year, 1.62, 2.9 million. NASCAR ended the 2024 season with an average of 2.892 million viewers on U.S. television over 36 races, up 1% from last year. Nevertheless, Joey Logano established a record on Sunday, November 10, 2024, when he became the NASCAR Cup Series champion with the worst average finish ever, a low of 17.1 over 36 races. It was the conclusion of 3 seasons of Penske and Ford supremacy at Phoenix, as part of a purposeful plan to prioritize championship wins above championship-level performance. Following Logano's recent victory, indications indicate that NASCAR may have had enough of its present system. It's hard to believe NASCAR's playoff concept has been around for 20 years. The chase for the Cup, the inaugural new playoff format, began in 2004. In its first 3 years, it produced 3 champions from 3 distinct organizations. It appeared to be doing precisely what NASCAR planned, keeping the title race intriguing until the very end. Then came Jimmy Johnson, Chad Naus, and the number 48 Hendrick Motorsports squad, who shattered their expectations into a million Loews-colored pieces. NASCAR has always been eager to change the format, and in 2014, the series underwent a major redesign, shocking the racing world. The new multi-round elimination structure should ensure that no one driver can ever game the system like that again. Except, following Joey Logano's 3rd title triumph in Phoenix, and Team Penske's 3rd consecutive Cup title, you have to question if they've solved NASCAR's nightmare, cracking the code to winning the playoff game like the Num 48 once did. Think of Logano as the format's Jimmy Johnson. Now bear with me because I am not claiming Logano has had Johnson-like seasons. However, he is the only driver to have won 3 wins in this format, claiming 3 of the past 7 Cup championships. Following last weekend's 1-2, Penske has now won 3 straight races, a feat not accomplished since the Johnson era. Obviously, it's not the 5 years of supremacy enjoyed by Johnson Naus, but it's still a remarkable achievement for a system meant to preclude any type of dominance or constant winning. Logano, however, has appeared in the final 4 more times than any other driver. A look at the years Logano has won indicates a consistent pattern. Every time he won the Cup, he also won the opening race in the round of 8. Logano advanced by pushing Martin Truex Jr. out of the way to win Martinsville in 2018, outlasted Ross Chastain in Vegas in 2022, and outperformed everyone in a fuel mileage race in Vegas in 2024. For the 2 weeks after these important race victories, his squad was fully focused on the finale, and he generally performed poorly in the races between. Nonetheless, he went on to win both the finale and the title. He never won more than 2 races during either of these title bids' 26-race regular seasons, but he did win when it counted the most. What's your thoughts on the format? Are you a fan, or would you like to see it changed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.